Let's move to the Calgary Flames. Jarome Iginla received 70% of the votes as the Flames face of the franchise. Johnny, are you surprised that the 1989 Stanley Cup winning team is not represented here? Instead, it's Jarome Iginla as the face of the franchise.
For the record, if I was allowed to, I was going to say Craig Button should have been the face of the franchise, but I'm not allowed to. So I'm actually not that surprised about 89 because you think about that team, Al McInnes was a huge part of it. He went on to have great years in St. Louis. Then Theo Fleury was a big part of it, and Lanny McDonald, but he was a Toronto guy. Everyone sort of moved around and weren't specifically with Calgary throughout most of their career. That's where Iggy was different. Although he didn't start with Calgary, he was traded up there. He was the guy there, and he was the guy for so many years where he was clearly the best player, sort of better than everyone else on their team, and carried that franchise. They came so close in the final against Tampa. That Marty Gelinas goal still might have gone in. I don't know. But the fact that he was the guy, and he was tough, and he was a leader, and he showed up in shape, and he held guys. Like everything you'd want your guy to be, the face of your franchise, he was it.
When Cliff Fletcher traded for Lanny McDonald, it was to try to bring in a presence from Alberta. I mean, the Edmonton Oilers had Gretzky, and they were starting to show that they were going to be formidable. And he thought that Lanny coming in, a really prolific goal scorer, could, give some identity to the Calgary. And he did. He did all of that and more. But, being around both of them, and then Jarome was iconic in terms of, as a player, I mean, he was everywhere. And they were dark times, and Jarome had to go and answer so much of the time. He got mad at me for when we were naming a captain, and I told him his time would come. He goes, it's not going to come here. He was mad that he wasn't the captain. And I said, it'll come. And I told him, I said, I don't want you having to answer for the foibles of the organization. I don't want you to have to answer for the team not being good enough. The team will emerge and will become better, and then you'll become that much more influential. And he did all of that and more.
Yeah, he got there. And listen, Lanny McDonald, like 89, winning the Cup, the beard, the hair, the players rubbing his head. Like, that is a very compelling case to make. But Jarome Iginla, yes, winning is something you need to reference. But getting them there in 04, he was such a huge part of that. Fighting Vinny Lecavalier in the final, one of the great tilts ever. And he's Mr. Calgary. Like, when you close your eyes and you think of the Flames, certainly recently, it is Jarome Iginla. All right, let's welcome in Steve Dryden back into the fold here. Steve, who do you think is the right call for the Flames face of the franchise?
Well, I'm genuinely surprised that Iginla only received 70% of the vote, because he is certainly not just my face of the franchise, but he's the heart, the shoulders, and the fists of the franchise. I mean, you go through his career, he did everything for them, objectively, subjectively, won all the honors, including the Pearson, the player's choice as the best player. He did absolutely everything. He had the iconic moments. He had the shift in Vancouver in 04. He had the fight versus Vinny Lecavalier in 04 in the finals. He had the reflected glory that the Olympics bring. I mean, it was mentioned earlier that about Crosby, that was, that what you do for Canada is what we're talking about here. But there's reflected glory. And because you're representing your country and your team. And what he did there was amazing in 2002, 2010, gold medal performances. I think he was the quintessential Canadian player and the absolute model Calgary Flame.
And he might have been robbed of the Heart the one year.
Yes, might have or was.
Some dicey voting cost him that individual award as well.
100%. 100%. All right, thank you, Steve. Great seeing you. As always, there is the face of the franchise for the Calgary Flames, Jarome Iginla.